Hello everyone. I hope you're all well and having a great evening. It is Saturday and it's time for the Champions Division. We're here for round 2. My name is Shrifium, and joining me for all of the action this evening, as we've got not one but 2 races. We've got the endurance coming later. Mr. Unicorn, how you doing?
Yes, Jeff, I'm doing well. Thank you. Like you said, 2 races tonight to look forward to. First of all, obviously, the last Dutch race of the week. The Netherlands here for the Champions Division. And well, this race, last week, ended in complete carnage with the tyre strategies, with, punctures here, there, and everywhere on the last lap. So a lot of drama last week. We've had a lot of drama this week already at Zandvoort. And well, those 2 things combined, I think we're in for a very, very exciting prospect here in the Champions Division.
Most definitely. It is, of course, the second round. We saw Bahrain last week. Tomic taking the first win in the division over at McLaren. And it was Luke Smith who crossed the line following him. And then, of course, following that, it was Valu who secured the 3rd spot after some controversy and etc. And, well, now we're here for round 2, and then following that, next week we'll be heading on over to Russia. We have Spa after that, Italy, Japan, Britain, Azerbaijan, Hungary, Singapore, France, Spain, as well as Austria, Mexico, and Brazil. And it's going to be a very action-packed season for everybody on the grid. Let's take a look at the standings. As just mentioned, there it is. Tomic at the top, 25 points for him. We have Luke Smith there, 18 points in second, and Valu rounding out the top 3. Modesto Mena in the other AlphaTauri, 4th position, and it was Lewis Welch 5th with 10 points for him. And it's McLaren, AlphaTauri, Red Bull, your top 3 in the constructors as things stand coming out of that first round as well. With that being said, we're just about ready to go racing here as we're getting all of the drivers in and readied up. And I'm very much looking forward to how this race unfolds, as we saw a little bit of wet running through one of our 6 races earlier this week. Of course, this is our 7th race around the Netherlands this week. With that said, we haven't seen too much rain. I'd love to see some rain throw a curveball into this grid, this Champions grid, the best of the best. It would be a very, very nice thing to see, at the very least, sitting where I am. Mind you, maybe not if you're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, especially not around Zandvoort. It's hard enough already to overtake around here. You add rain into the mix, and well, it just gets that little bit trickier. So I'm sure everyone here will be hoping for rain. For rain. We're hoping for rain, but I'm sure they're all hoping for the dry. Just a little bit of predictability. We will see rain tonight, at least at some point, with tonight's Champions race, given what we saw earlier in qualifying. Jeff, around Spa, I imagine that is going to be quite the whirlwind in terms of weather. But here, it's on dynamic. We don't know what we're going to be hit with. The drivers don't know. So it's all up to that famous roll of the dice as we load in.
Alrighty, I think everyone getting readied up now. Jumping into now, if you are unfamiliar, this is a full qualifying session. Full qualifying session for this Champions grid. So we aren't going to see the 18-minute qualifying that we normally see for our previous 6 races. We're going to be seeing a full, of course, 3-session qualifying. So we're going to be going through Q1, Q2, and Q3. And once we go through all of those qualifying sessions, we will once again be into a 50% distance campaign now. We have Q1, 18 minutes is how many minutes the drivers are going to have to qualify here, and we have 18 drivers on the grid as things stand. I think we had a driver join last moment, and then there might have been an issue getting him in. I think that was Cody Lawrence, and there he actually is. So there is 19 drivers as he's picked up one of the absent vehicles this evening in a reserve capacity, and it's nice to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. And he does fill in another slot, makes it a little bit harder to, get through into the, second session, whereas we only had a couple of times being eliminated. Now 4 drivers, of course. That's really what you're aiming to do here. Just avoid elimination in at least the first one. The second one we saw last week, a little bit of an upset, with a couple of people gambling to try and get on the mediums in that second session, but as a result, not fast enough to get through to Q3. Here in Q1, though, it's all about just getting through. You'll see the drivers coming out on the intermediates. We are dry at the moment, and it looks like it will be dry, according to Domi in the chat, so thank you very much there. But the intermediate's still making a show, just so the drivers can get accustomed, make sure everything's working properly and not use any of their valuable tire sets.
Well, we have quite a few drivers here that we did not see last week. Of course, we have Richie on the grid today, Neon on the grid today. They are drivers that you'd be familiar with from divisions last season, as they're now back in the community. And we have a few other drivers on the grid already mentioned. We mentioned Cody Lawrence here today. Mateo is on the grid. He was absent last week. We have Neon beginning a lap on these intermediate compound tires just to get a feel for the circuit.
Yeah, on to see him going around again here on the intermediate tires. Got plenty of time to do so, so maybe he's feeling a little bit of a problem. But this time will not stand in terms of its pace. It will be the slowest time I think we'll see unless someone else goes for an extra lap on the intermediates.
The circuit, 6 races through here already this week, has presented a number of challenges for the drivers who have visited Zandvoort. And to note on that, this section where Luke Smith is currently pushing through in the AlphaTauri has caught quite a few drivers out. We're going to jump back to Neon. But a lot of winding, fast-flowing sections here in Zandvoort, not the most ideal overtaking circuit, has presented a number of risks being taken from drivers, and, well, by extension, a number of issues: safety cars, yellow flags, wing changes.
Yeah, it does make it difficult around here, as Neon is going to wrap up his lap. It's a 1:21.7, so obviously a fair few seconds off where we expect the pace to be, but he's not the only one who's rounding out that lap. A 1:19.5 coming out from Luke Smith. So times are coming through as well. There's a big slide, and out of the final corner comes Thomas Harvey and into the wall for the Williams. Luckily for him, he's still in this, but this is why it's a little surprising to see them all pushing as hard as they are in some cases on these intermediates. You don't want to end your qualifying prematurely with a mistake on the tires in the wrong conditions. And, well, Thomas Harvey there, a little bit lucky.
Alpaskaya, he's running on the soft compound tires right now, pushing for what we could see as the first hot lap of the session on the dry compound tires on this board. And you can see the times on board of 1921s. You're not going to see the softs that high up unless he has a major issue. So we're going to see him take a provisional pole here most definitely early in the session. Bit of a slide coming out of 12. Ooh, and that's a big slide through 13. And, well, we might just see that high 20 if, of course, he does cross the line on these softs. And he needs to have a little bit more, of course, consistency coming through that final section. He is going to cross the line, so there is not an invalidation. Even that time with the major issue coming out of Sector 3 is going to present him to the top of this tower.
Yeah, obviously, it's not the time he would be wanting, and, well, there's another problem. He's out! He has crashed the car, and that is a very, very poor start to the session for Alpaskaya here. A spin on the fast lap, which means that it's not a fast lap at all. And now retirement, this pretty much guarantees getting cut from proceeding to Q2. And that is not what the Alfa Romeos wanted coming into this one. Yet to score a point in the division. And it looks like that's going to continue here tonight, Jeff.
Yeah, definitely. That was a very, very interesting situation there. Alpaskaya, he blew through some braking boards on his outlap, and looks like there was some kind of issue there. He's now out of the session in the Alfa Romeo.
It's going to be tricky. He does have a teammate tonight in the form of Sanjo there, who currently having a few problems himself. He is disconnected from the lobby and he's just trying to resolve that. But right now for Alfa Romeo, it is looking grim right now from their point of view. We'll see what everyone else is able to do. Cody Lawrence right now in the Alpine. See what he can do. He's on, I'd say, a flyer according to my timing. He's been on this lap for 6 minutes, which strikes me as slightly misleading, given that we've barely been in qualifying for that long. So something going on there with the timing. But we'll see just what he is capable of as he comes through and into the final sector. The question is, does the timing update itself here? DRS open to the line. Not counted the time, and I wonder whether that was an outlap without the tag there next to the time and tie. It doesn't look like he's got any indication of going slow here, so maybe this is the flyer. Some sort of glitch definitely afoot there for the Alpine's timing, but he's still soldiering on through sector 1, and well, this might be the first successful soft slap that we get. Obviously, 1:16.7 was set by Alpaskaya, but that wasn't without its issues. Flying through sector 2 now, approaching turn 10. Getting the apex there as there's a Haas on the inside, just keeping out of the way. That's Luca there, who's currently 7th place, yet to set a time on an outlap himself. So Longe on the inside, as well as Lawrence coming through.
Balu shoots up into provisional pole here, a 109.022 for the Red Bull. Cody Lawrence now. He will come through across the line as Tomic just puts himself in front of Value there. The McLaren, a 108.912. It's Cody Lawrence, 109.386. Now the 3 fastest runs on the soft compound tires.
Yeah, starting to get those times in now, and I'm sure they will be happy to have got those times on the board. Obviously, still plenty of time here with the short lap. We've been saying all week that Zandvoort does afford you a few options and opportunities to get these times in. Plenty of room for mistakes as long as you're still in the session after it, because you can get into the pits, can get a new set of tires. I'm sure we'll see that take effect today. And here comes Thomas Harvey. Well, we already saw him into the wall on those intermediates, but it's fastest lap of the session on 108.658. That is 0.3 faster than last week's race winner, Tomic. Obviously, though, this is Q1, and we expect things to get a lot faster by the end of Q3.
Get owned in the McLaren. He'll be looking to put up a time near, of course, Tomic and Thomas Harvey. Thomas Harvey's going to be very happy with that run, that 108.658. 8 minutes remaining in this qualifying 1 session. Matteo Longe pushes through in the Williams, a 108.915, as things really ramping up here through the middle point of this qualifying 1 session. Luca will be pushing out a lap here as well as he just begins crossing the line. It's a 29.852, of course, is where he first got this lap through. He is going to be starting another run.
And like you mentioned, Get Owned as well, coming now out of the final turn. We can see where he slots himself in. A high 108 seems to be the benchmark, and it's a low 109, so 109.2 puts him just behind a Boggin there in the Aston Martin. Not teammates here, but they are, of course, both members of Shazoo, so they will know each other a little bit and pretty equal on pace as well.
Brownie just passing Modesto Mena there in the Alpha Tower. He had some difficulties coming through turn 3 on his well, what could have very well been his flyer. And that was Milan, crossing the line in the Ferrari, a 109.119. And his teammate Paris this evening, he did not have the most ideal round one last week out in Bahrain. He didn't qualify where he wanted, and then unfortunately he got collected in an extremely difficult issue coming out of turn 13, where he was wrapped up with Get Owned, who I think had a struggle coming out on the opening lap. So now Paris is flying.
And we'll see what he's capable of. Obviously, we've seen him very, very quick previously. Tier 1, of course, last season, as Thomas Harvey already calling it quits here. He is done and dusted in the pit lane. Happy with that 108.6, and he should be. It's a very, very strong time to have set at this point, and should see him safely into Q2. Especially given the reduced amount of slots that will be eliminated. Obviously, 19 drivers plus Alposkaya eliminated. So only a few drivers will get dropped now. We'll lose 3 more, I should think.
Here we go, Paris coming through turn 13. This will be the first time set for him in the session. Nothing on the board, to the line now. DRS wide open on the rear wing, and it is going to be good to jump Milan. A 109.015, just shy of that 108.9 range, where we're seeing the top 6. Of course, this is qualifying one. Not every driver going to be pushing their absolute hardest. The track going to be evolving.
Yeah, absolutely. Piotr just went fastest, a 108.766. So that's P2 for him. Just ahead of value there. Not much in it. 7 thousandths between the Aston Martin and the Red Bull, but still, P2 is P2. However much of a margin you get it by. Brownie as well pushing now in the Mercedes this evening.
He'll just be beginning. I saw him just a few moments ago. He had pulled off, I believe it was just outside of turn 3, and now Brownie, a very capable driver who took points last week in 2 races. Tier 1, and he's here in a reserve capacity for the Champions Division. He took points last week in both of his Bahrain appearances. He'll be here to continue that trend in the MRL Season 5 action.
Yeah, and obviously that, race under your belt will give him a little bit of confidence coming in, that he knows what, works and what parts of his strategy didn't work out quite so well for him. But obviously, the Champions Division, different with the fact that we do run, obviously, full qualifying here, as Luke Smith finding just over a 10th to slot himself into P4 there, going around again on those soft tyres. Brownie coming out of the banked final corner. Let's see where the pace lands for the German, and it's P14 at 109.259, just behind Neon, but right there on that sort of cut-off danger zone. If Modesto Mina and Sanjo can get a time in. Again, Sanjo still having problems, so not able to set a lap time as of right now. The AlphaTauri, on the other hand, that was holding him back, but we have seen him out on track, so
I think Boggin in the Aston Martin, I think he is flying, looking for improvement. He's quite tight to his previous coming through into Sector 2. The Aston Martin now looking to improve on that 109.188 through Sector 2, and it's going to be crucial to do so, as if he does, he could definitely push someone into that elimination zone. The bottom 4 drivers of this session will be facing, of course, elimination from qualifying.
And let's see what he can do. He's in 11th right now. He should be all right, but an improvement here would really secure that. And let's see where he goes. It's 7th fastest for him, so 108.9 for him. Nice result there for him in Q1. Obviously, again, it's all about getting through here. The time really doesn't matter as long as it's faster than everyone else's in terms of the bottom 4.
Not too much action on track right now. Ooh, well, as I say that, Boggin, a big issue coming through Sector 1. And he gets that car spun around and rotated back facing the right direction. But, well, that was as if it was on cue. Tomic now, 108.912. He was our pole sitter last week in Bahrain. He'll be looking to, I imagine, carry on a streak here after a great drive. He's actually slowing things down. Maybe not happy. Maybe just trying to drop fuel. No battery in utilization. So he will be looking to cut things down. Get to that line. Maybe go again. Letting everyone through.
Yeah, no. You cast your minds back 7 days to
Bahrain. Sorry to interrupt you there, George, but Luca has just spun. And he's looking to try and rejoin here. A lot of traffic in this section of circuit.
That's something we've seen all week long. This track just catching people out in this new game. So Boggin is happy with 7th, and we'll call it. And that 108.9 right now, looking pretty comfortable to get through.
Cody Lawrence finding a small improvement through Sector 2, and he's set the sector purple. He'll be pushing through into 13 and 14 now, the penultimate and final turns of the lap. And our session now just about to draw to a close. As he comes out of the iconic banking, what's it going to be to the line? It's going to be good for 11th position here, a 109.098 coming from the American.
Yeah, we're getting to the tail end of the session now, so really is going to be the last sort of few runs. And right now we've got Modesto Mina right now in that danger zone. Brownie, Neon as well, just on the cusp there. If someone is able to improve, Sandro won't set a time. I do believe whatever the problem was has been fixed for the Alfa Romeo, so he should be here in the race. But as of right now, qualifying will be over, and it'll be 18th and 19th. Modesto Mina. Well, that is an invalidation on what will be the final run for the AlphaTauri, I believe, because we do have a driver host and we shouldn't have any desync between us. If we do, maybe he's got a shot. There wasn't a lot in it, but it looks like it might be over for the AlphaTauri. Brownie's still got an opportunity here, though, to get himself out of the firing line in this Mercedes. Neon goes 11th fastest, so he clears himself and puts Get Owned at risk of being beaten here by the German. Everyone else, I do believe, is safe. Well, Get Owned's invalidated his run, so he won't be improving. Browning out, coming out of the final corner. Can he beat the 109.210? Yes, he can. It's 10th fastest, and he drops the McLaren out of Q3 as well as Modesto Mina and the 2 Alfa Romeos. Jay Verhage there just sneaking through in the Haas on 109.180, 300ths clear of the drop zone.
Very, very intense qualifying session there, especially to the end. A few drivers tight to the potential elimination, and well, now we have ourselves the classification coming out of qualifying one. It was Thomas Harvey quickest in this first session for Williams. He ran a 108. Very nice time there, 108.658. And we had Piotr there, Stachulek in the Aston Martin, a 108.766, which is a very good time as well, within 1/10. And we had Valley rounding out our top 3 in this qualifying one session for Red Bull, a 108.773. Tomic, he took pole, if you will, for that first slot in qualifying one last week. 4th position for him this week in the McLaren, and we have Luke Smith rounding out our top 5 in Q1. We also have Mateo Boggin there, Antoine, or excuse me, it's Luca with his beautiful Fort Antoine hashtag going there as it's Spa this weekend. Paris, just a good Q1, everyone getting warmed up. I imagine if you had struggles in qualifying last week, you make it through into Q2 this week, you're going to be happy. Of course, Ghetto not going to be happy. We saw him make it into Q2 last week And then if you remember, he dropped his lap thinking he was safe just before the end of that Q2 session, and he did get dropped out of that top 10. So now 15 drivers into 15 minutes of qualifying as opposed to 18, and they'll have to get their best runs through. We've already got action as we come out of the pit lane. It is one of the Red Bulls, as we have 2 now in this Q2. And, well, I think that might have just been Neon, so we'll jump on with him as he leaves the pit lane. It was Value. It was Neon the last time. It's Value this time. One thing to mention just quickly, so if you are unfamiliar, it was Get Owned, Modesto Mena, VRT Sandro, who have all unfortunately been eliminated from that Q1 session, and Alpaskaya as well as there. He set a lap, but he did struggle through that Q1 session, and he crashed his car through turn 3.
Absolutely, and well, the Alfa Romeo squad now down in 18th and 19th position. They will not be looking forward to this race. It's going to be a real struggle. We have seen people come up through the, out of the bottom 10 in these races with, of course, safety cars. We've seen it already today here in qualifying. A few spins already, and of course, Alps crashed there in Q1. But, this is a little bit different because of the full qualifying. Here in Q2, whatever tyres the top 10 set their fastest laps on, they will be the tyres that they start them on, as Valu now comes down to start his first flying lap on the soft, so not going for the mediums. Not a few, too many drivers opting for the mediums, it would seem, today, but obviously that does sort of eliminate the strategy call from it. I imagine everyone here just wanting to get through into Q3 on the softs here. Valu now coming out of turn 4 through 5 into 6, and so far so good for the Red Bull. Using too much through the inside of 7 will just invalidate his first run. Just getting a little bit cheeky there with the track limits, trying to take as much of that inside to make that as short as possible. I do believe the next driver following him was Boggin in the Aston Martin. He's still on a valid flyer right now, coming through turn 11, and he will be getting into the DRS zone in the middle portion of this lap. Not too much overtaking we've seen through here already. You need a good run out of that turn 11 to get him moved on before turn 12 through 13 now. We've seen a little bit of side-to-side action throughout the week, but it is tricky now as Boggin comes into 14 and then 15. It doesn't look too quick, and he has dropped the lap, so maybe an attempt at pushing for mediums later on.
112.865 from him. I saw Valu. He pushed a 108.9 on his invalidated run. Variety of drivers getting their run started. Luca invalidated.
Yeah, I just was on board with that. He took a huge chunk out of turn 12, and I wonder whether some of these invalidations are deliberate in order to just try and gauge a soft pace in this middle portion. It's not a brilliant lap from 110.9, so I think these guys are leaving the door open for the potential of a medium run towards the middle part of the session, so that if it doesn't go well on the mediums, they have got time to go on the softs. But remember, this is Zandvoort. It's a short lap time, and you could risk it and go a little bit later on those mediums.
They'll be going out there. They're going to be getting some practice runs in on each session. They have a little bit of time to do so. They might want to get a time set on the board to find themselves a delta to play with as they're pushing their laps, because you need, it's always good to have a good representation of where you are at, and that delta is the best way, of course, of getting that, especially if you get another 2 runs in maybe after getting that delta set up. It's a short run here around the Netherlands. Brownie a 109.583, Cody Lawrence a 12.012, and these runs not really the fastest runs we've seen from these racers. Of course, we saw Q1, things ramped up quite a bit further from where we see them right now. So I think definitely everybody just using this opening run out of the pit lane just to do a little bit of wet work, a little bit of leg work on where they stand coming through for these final runs, because another thing is these drivers might want to figure out what tires they want to run in the race in. 108.793 coming out of Paris in the Ferrari. Good run from him. But
Yeah, that's the
Q2
man that's
tires are your
decided.
starting tires, so that's
Yeah.
why you might want to be out there playing around.
Well, I think he's made his decision, Striff. I think he wants to start up at the front. He is starting on those softs. I don't see him beating that on the mediums. The 1087 sets a precedent as well, because it puts pressure on everyone else now behind, because, well, that's one slot that a medium runner cannot fill. I do not see anyone really, starting to threaten that too much with the mediums. But, getting that faster time in. And Paris, well, we spoke about that a little bit already, but he didn't have a brilliant qualifying last week, nor a brilliant race, and he'll be looking to rectify that around a track where track position is very important. Starting high up on the grid is going to be very, very useful. Tomek a 109.2. So, times are starting to crumble down a little bit, but again, mediums still on the table for a lot of drivers, a lot of mediums out and now on flyers, and we'll see where these guys land. But again, if enough people go on softs, it does threaten that everyone in that top 10 will have to start on softs. It's all a very strategic game, and we'll see just how things go. The first medium runner, I believe, will be Thomas Harvey now across the line. Where will he go? It's a 109 flat. So a nice start. He beats everyone but Paris on that 108.7. So maybe there is room for Paris to get under that time. He's made the window pretty small for himself, but there is potential. You've got a real corker of a lap lined up for the end of the session on the mediums.
Yeah, we saw Matteo there that he went third until Thomas showed up. Milan goes a 109.503 in the Ferrari. Jay pushing right now in the Haas. Neon as well. He is pushing in the Red Bull. His teammate Valu has just begun. A little bit of a weave coming out of Neon on the exit of 13. He pushes through 14, that iconic banking. He's going to carry this to the line. Is it enough to put himself out of the bottom 5? Yes, it is. 109.8 for now. I think he'll be at risk there once these times really start to come through. Of course, it was in the previous session. Thomas, Piotr, and Valu, the top 3 in Q1. Right now, Thomas sitting P2 in Q2 on the medium compound, that 109.014. Jay coming through 7th position there.
Yeah, 109.655 there, and Thomas Harvey right now fairly clear up at the top of 109 flat. So, nice from him right now. 4/10 clear of the nearest medium runner, unless there seems to be a bit of confusion as to what tires Tomek was on. Apparently, according to the track, he was on the mediums there, so potentially an issue with what that's displaying. Hopefully, it will give him mediums at the start of the race if he does, post a lap time on the mediums in Q2. You'd hope to see that.
He's got the medium for his best time as far as my screen is concerned. I have it on set tire to see what people are on, and now we have it on if you want best tire. There you have it. And Paris, the only driver in the top 5 to set that soft run. Everyone else on the medium compound tire.
We'll get now a 109.393 to go 4th fastest.
Piotr, his teammate.
High up.
There we go. 3rd position for his teammate. You mentioned Aston Martin high up. 3rd is pretty high up, I'd say, for Q2.
Yeah, it's a decent result out last time. Double points finish for them. I believe the only team to have done, well, with the exception of the McLaren, with 1st and 10th last week out. So a nice result there for the pair of them, and well, they'll be looking to improve upon it this week, I'm sure. Some more points for either of them, but right now a very consistent team there. Obviously not able to challenge those who were on the podium. We'll see who that is at the end of the evening. Right now, not a lot going on track. I do believe everyone is on some form of in-lap. Unless anyone's going for a double run, but it doesn't look like it. Boggin is on his way into the pit lane. Lawrence definitely not flying either. I think it is everyone coming in. Jeffrey Ritchie, he's just left the pit lane. We'll see what he can do. He's on the softs, reserving over in the Alpine for the evening. The two Alpine drivers, again, absent from the grid. They weren't here last week in Bahrain as they were at Le Mans.
There goes Valley.
3 laps old on those tires, but it's a very nice time for the Red Bull.
Yeah, solid time there from him.
Paris still sitting clear up at the top on the sots. We'll see whether Richie here can contest this in any way, shape or form. Just slowing down a little bit, getting ready for his run in the Alpine. Now throttling down, coming through into the final corner. DRS open to start his flying lap. 3.5 minutes left in the session. Not long to go now until Q3. Down into turn 1. Tight to the inside through there. Nice on the exit as well. Early on the power as he comes through 2 into 3. And now into the second bank curve of turn 4. Out of there pretty nicely. No issues so far for the Dutchman at his home track. Through 6 into 7 now. Up the crest. And over into 8. Once again rising as he comes through 9 into 10. Again, you've got to hit this one on the apex. Uses a bit of the inside curb there to boot all the way to the outside to open it up for turn 11 now. And the Dutchman going wide as he opens DRS here to power down one of 2 DRS straights into the final sector now, using all of the curb on the inside of 12 through 13 in the Alpine. Out through into the penultimate corner, turn 14, before the infamous banked curve of 15. Let's see what he's good for. A 108.7 is the time to beat through on the middle of the track. It's a 109 flat. And I think you would have hoped for a little bit more there. This is a very, very competitive grid.
Well, it's a very, very intense grid, and Matteo Longe now will be the next driver to begin a run in the Williams. He is now on the soft compound tires, looking to get himself out of the bottom 5 here, as it is the bottom 5 drivers 11 through 15 who will find themselves eliminated should they not land in the top 10. They want to get into that Q10 or Q1 excuse me, Q3. If I can get my my ordering dialed in. But of course Matteo now through sector 2.
Yeah, I don't know about Q10. It sounds like a
pretty drawn out.
Like a cup. Yeah, you'd have to do 1v1 elimination, start the whole thing.
Bracket style.
I think that will be incredibly long, as we've got Matteo just coming through out of 13 there. Richie just on the outside. I don't think it would have helped the Williams up. Hopefully, for his sake, it hasn't. But here comes to the line. Matteo, where does he go? He goes. Provisional pole of 108.764. That is a very, very nice time. And will secure his place in the final qualify. Now the Ferrari goes just behind his teammate at 108.888 for Milan.
A lot of drivers going to be looking to get themselves maybe near Matteo and Paris when things come through in Q1 or Q3. There we go again. Tomic is on the move. A lot of drivers on the move on these softs now.
Yeah, and I'm surprised because, you know, we've seen that, you know, throughout last week where the gamble did not pay off to stay on the mediums, and now we are seeing that threatened here. Piotr, he's still on the mediums. Luke Smith, where does he put himself? He goes provisional pole, a 108.5 from the man who took the second step on last week's podium. P1 right now.
Neon looking for improvement. He will be... Oh, did he just invalidate right there? I think he might have. He's going to cross the line. Would have been a 109.266 without the invalidation, and he's not going to be able to come across for another run. Tomic goes second here, 108.602. That was Luca who crossed his 10th position.
It's on the mediums. That's risky, especially with Boggin flying on the sots right now. He looks like he is going to be able to dethrone that Haas and knock him out of the top 10. He needed to be a little bit faster on that tire. I think Piotr here might just be safe on the mediums, and that's a huge gamble for the Aston Martin squad, but it might just pay off here. Brownie's not been able to knock him out, and it will work out for Piotr. He will stay in the top 10 and make it through to Q3 on the mediums. Boggin fails to knock Luca out. He only gets within 300ths of the Haas and misses out on the soft. So what was looking good for Aston Martin earlier starts to fall apart a little bit. Piotr through on the mediums. Boggin failing to meet Luca's medium run on the softs. And I think that wraps up Q2. And disappointment for Boggin there, who just misses out, as well as Cody Lawrence, Brownie, Jay, and Neon there at his home track. My, oh my, what a shock. Boggin there. He really looked like he was on for it, Jeff. Really looked like he could get himself into that top 10. Yeah. Just missed out, though, by a very fine margin.
It was tight. It was very tight there. Luke Smith, Tomic, and Matteo, your top 3 at the end and at the finale of Q2. Now we have 10 drivers remaining out of the 19 that began our qualifying. Very, very, very good session so far, and it's really setting the stage for what I think is going to be an explosive race in the Netherlands. But once again, Luke Smith, top of Q2, a 108.544. Tomic there in the McLaren, a 108.602, and a Matteo Longe, the Frenchman, in the Williams, a 108.764. Paris, 4th position there in the Ferrari, and that was his first run and only run, I believe, of the session, the 108.793 that set him into provisional pole for some time. Milan there, rounding off the top 5. It was Boggin, Cody Lawrence, Brownie, Jay, and Neon who were eliminated.
Yeah, 4 drivers, it looks like, made it through on the medium. So I'm assuming a couple of those would have gone out on slots at the end there, seeing that their times were safe, and then called it back into the pit lane without beating their medium run. So a few drivers will be starting within the top 10 on the mediums. We'll see where they land here, though, as we proceed into the final leg of qualifying. 10 drivers remain. And, of course, now it's all about the fastest time. Strategy is locked in. It's all about who's quickest out of these 10 drivers here.
Milan, Luca, Valu, Paris, Jeffrey, Richie, Matteo Longe. We have Tomic, Thomas, Luke, and Piotr. All 10 drivers in now 12 minutes of qualifying.
Yeah, a shorter session, but again, plenty of time to get through. A nice couple of laps. 3 definitely possible. Even with the time limitations, the shorter lap here very much alleviates that sort of stress from the drivers. Obviously, we'll not see the same luxury afforded to those qualifying in Spa later on this evening with the longer lap time. But here in the Netherlands, just over a minute, plenty of time to get through. Piotr first out of the garage. His teammate knocked out in 11th. They'll be disappointed about that. So now Aston Martin's hopes of a good starting position rely on his shoulders.
Any favorites for pole position? Let us know in the chat. Of course, Tomic. He secured pole position last week out in Bahrain for round 1. Can he do it back to back? We saw him finish 2nd position in Q2. He finished out of the top 3 in Q1. We'll have to see if he can take the top spot here in Q3. However, it will be the Aston Martin of Piotr there, starting his lap through turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Luke Smith looking strong as well in that first couple of qualifying sessions, and obviously didn't have the qualifying he wanted last week, out qualifying 12th if I'm not mistaken, but he finished second, so definitely got some strong pace in that AlphaTauri. And he did say last week after the race that Bahrain not too fond of, whereas the Netherlands maybe suits him just that little bit better. So he's also a candidate for pole, but it could be any one of these 10 drivers. Piotr having a little bit of correction coming out of turn 10 into 11. Nothing that won't hurt him on this banker lap. Time obviously goes fastest as he's the first to set a sector 2 time, as there's a big kick out from the rear of the Aston Martin through 13, and that will harm the time by quite a lot. And we'll see whether he even decides to round this one out. Maybe just get a time on the board, I would imagine, but it won't be the strongest time we've seen by quite a long shot. It's the 108.8 from the Aston Martin. There's Valu, a 108.6 in the Red Bull, and Paris, 108.6. She's just 4 thousandths faster than the Red Bull, but
Paris, Valu, Piotr there. Top 3 right now. 108.627 from Paris. Luca pushing through sector 3 right now in the Haas. 8.5 minutes remaining. Where can he land himself on this line? He jumps ahead of Richie, a 109.007. Luke Smith just beginning a lap.
I don't know if that's fixed anything, but hopefully problem solved.
There we go. I think we should be all right for now. We'll just have to monitor that.
As there is a Williams, Thomas Harvey strip facing the wrong way out of the penultimate corner.
That is not what you want to be doing in Q3 at all.
He is through on the mediums from Q2, but well, that's not going to help him here. Trying to set the fastest time, facing the wrong way. Milan coming down to the line now in the Ferrari. Where does he go? It's P6, a 109 flat from him. Very satisfying on the time and tower, but he won't be satisfied with P6. I shouldn't think his teammate right now sitting on the top spot. Luke Smith's dropped his lap for whatever reason, coming very slowly out of 13.
Yeah, interesting to see there. It looks like he might just be wanting to ramp things up and go again. That's the only reason I would think he's going so slow, and he's pushing out of 13. We saw a little bit of a snap. He's going to be holding it to the left, so he's going to go again.
Yeah, and this is again the first run. There are obviously time restrictions that, you know, it is a short lap, but when you've wasted that much time just sitting there on the track, that does eat into the time you have available. So whilst there is plenty of time to get in the runs you need, using those extra 10 seconds there, that might hurt him in the long run. We'll see though. Luke Smith pushing now in the AlphaTauri as Aston Martin there on the right hand side out of the way. And there's of course the last remaining Aston Martin in the session. It's Piotr, currently P4. But Luke coming through out of turn 11 now. A little bit of a shake on the exit. And he's got that fuel light on now. He should just have enough fuel to get around, you would expect, on this last run. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone for it. Now into the penultimate run. He's made it further than last time. Put an invalidation on the outside of 14. And that will be the end of that one. Straight into the pits. Oh my, he will be kicking himself after that one. The only car on track right now, the Aston Martin of Piotr, starting his second run of the session.
Yeah, this is the first driver we saw get a lap in of Q3. Piotr, he at 108.818, and he'll be looking to jump Paris as best he can. It's a fight for pole here in Q3. putting down the fastest lap times you possibly can to solidify your grid position in this top 10. And, well, 4th position, not the worst run you can find yourself with after, well, it's been 7 minutes of this qualifying.
Yeah, getting through into the last 5 now, and it all comes down to this. Really, everything else, before was just about survival, about strategy. This is about raw pace now, and it will be the fastest lap times we see all evening. And it's just the case of who's got the best one in them at this moment in time. Obviously, one mistake we just saw it there for Luke Smith. Very costly. Validation. Obviously, time for him to go again, but you do that later in the session. Doesn't work out. Piotr goes fast. It's a 108.459, and times really are going to go down from here on out. Look at the difference. But just a few minutes since Paris set his lap time, the 108.6. Piotr now smashing that out of the water. And I don't think he's going to be the last person to do that.
No, I definitely think you're right. I think that we have a lot of these drivers who are going to be gearing up trying to smash this. Thomas Harvey will be the first next to come through and set a potential run. Thomas, he ran a 108.650. That was in the Q1 session as he was at the top of the timing tower in Q1. What can he do now? In Q3, he was able to get all the way here, fight for that grid position, fight for that potential pole slot. Just flowing through into Sector 2 as we come down the hill, and this is where we've seen drivers struggle. We saw earlier this week Azir with a violent crash through there. We saw quite a few drivers with spins through there.
Yeah, it's a tricky section of track. Haven't seen anything troubling these drivers so far this evening. Not to say it won't happen in the race, of course, but the race here, we'll see what happens. Thomas Harvey right now, who we're on board with flying in the minutes, one of these drivers who's on the mediums as well. So a good result here will really boost his chances in the race, given that he's on the alternate strategy starting higher. Will just help him, make that strategy work even more so. And, well, that's P2 for him, a 108.492. He won't have too much time to go around again, so I think that will be his best run on the session, unless he's just got just enough time to get out and get in and out again. I don't think he will, though.
Richie going to be coming through. Currently 9th, a 109 from Richie. A 109.233. He'll be looking to improve on that. Where does he land himself? It's a 108.778, a very solid improvement to 5th position provisionally as other drivers begin runs. Paris has begun, as has Valu. It will be Paris, the first of the pair mentioned, to come through with a run here, looking to improve a 108.627, the Brit. And of course, with that, the number 24 Ferrari coming into Sector 2. He has found 500ths. So a very tight margin right now for where things stood for him last trip through Sector 1.
Yeah, and he'll be spurred on by last week, and before race they're hoping for something better tonight. Coming out onto the DRS zone down to turn 12, and so far he's looked good all evening. Almost found 2/10, and this could be provisional pole. Thomas Harvey is done. He has retired in the pit lane. He will not be improving. Paris a little bit. Oh, I lost the traction coming out of turn 13. Obviously, no one here running any assists in the Champions Division. And out of 13, Paris might have felt it a little bit there. Coming down to the line now. Does that mistake cost him? Not right now. 108.447 for the Brit. Valu's invalidated his run and isn't going again either in the Red Bull. So he's done for the evening.
That's not good news for Valu. Paris now provisional pole. Piotr on an outlap. Delange pushing. 2 drivers pushing. There was an issue there. There's a Haas pulled off. That's Luca just ahead of 13. Tomic on the soft compound tires. He is going to be beginning a lap in the McLaren.
Yeah, Milan just went 5th fastest at 108.677 there for him. Valu calling it in the pit lane, and Milan is done as well. I think a little mistake there on the in lap, whether he was pretending to go again or not. Mateo goes fourth fastest at 108.590 for the Williams. Nicely done there from him.
Theodore right now, he's looking like he is within striking distance of Paris. Oh, he's dropped some time through Sector 2, so we'll find out what he can find through Sector 3. He has a big drift out of turn 12 through 13 now. Oof, and he's just stepped that right toe in, and that is going to be an invalidated run. Tomic, the McLaren who was on pole last week in Bahrain, does he have it in him to take pole position again here? 2 weeks in a row to the line. DRS wide open. Oh, he gets it on the front row, but it's not good enough to get Paris. Who else comes through now as Luke Smith in the AlphaTauri, 5th position at 108.581. Luca will cross with a 108.767, his best effort. The last driver on circuit now is Matteo Longe, and it is a 108.590, his best run. And so we have it, the finale of our qualifying ahead of round 2. Paris, so 108.447. Tomic, second position for him, 3 milliseconds in it between the front row, and we have Piotr there. Well, he isn't too far behind either. It is a very tight separation between the two front rows right now, less than a tenth in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Very close up at the top. I'm surprised that Luke Smith didn't contest a little heavier than he did, because we did see him very competitive in the first 2 sessions. I wonder whether the invalidation earlier on in Q3 just made him play it a little bit safe in this, last lap that he had. One shot. But P5 for him. Not awful. We saw him come from 12th to 2nd last week. What can he do from 5th here around a track that is incredibly hard to overtake? But look at the top 4, all within half a tenth of one another. But it's Paris, just 0.003 of a second on pole, ahead of Tomek there in the McLaren. Piotr in 3rd for Aston Martin, starts alongside Thomas Harvey in the Williams, whose fellow countryman Luke Smith starts 5th for AlphaTauri. The other Williams, Matteo Longe, starts 6th with Red Bull's Valu alongside him. Milan makes Ferrari both in the top 10 as well in 8th. Jeffrey Ritchie reserving for Alpine starts 9th, and Luca there starts 10th for the Haas squad. Obviously, we've got 9 other drivers as well, knocked out in the first 2 qualifyings. But tyre strategy as well will come into this. Mediums, I should think, will be very present on this starting grid, alongside a few soft runners as well, Striff.
No doubt, no doubt. And we have a little bit of overcast conditions here, but we have been told the forecast is dry. All of these drivers getting their final setups dialed in, tire strategies, fuel loads, and etc., as we are now about to go for our 7th time this week for a 36 lap campaign here around Zandvoort. These drivers have just wrapped up 3 qualifying sessions. I imagine especially the top 10 all very, very warmed up, ready to go. And now things 10 seconds counting down to formation lap. Are we ever excited for this one? Of course, let us know in the chat who you've got. It's Paris and Tomic on the front row. It was 3 milliseconds separating them. Paris a 108.447. Tomic a 108.450. What great laps from them for the front row, and really half a tenth separating the top 4 on this grid. Lots of
absolutely
different tire strategy there as well. 6 drivers only on the softs in this one. 2 drivers opting for the mediums, Modesto Mena and Lewis Welch, who is good to see. We didn't get an opportunity to see Lewis in qualifying. We knew he was going to be absent and potentially here for the race, so it's good to see a full grid. We have some reserves here in capacity this evening, but of course, if you're just tuning in, my name is Striffium here from Canada. Joining me is Mr. Unicorn from the UK. You're here for Champions Division MRL action. It's round 2. As you can see, we are here in the Netherlands. And, well, what a race it's going to be here at Unicorn.
Absolutely. And like you mentioned, the tyre strategies are great. I'm surprised at the presence of a couple of hards that are up, down on the back. Modesto Mena in 17th and Louis Welsh as well in 20th place. Both on the hards They will lack pace, but maybe a well-timed safety car could see that strategy work out for them. The front two, Paris, Tomek on that front row, starting on the softs. Behind them, the second row is mediums for Piotr and Thomas Harvey. Luke Smith starts 5th alongside Matteo, both on the softs. Valu starts 7th on the mediums. Then Milan and Jeffrey Ritchie start on the soft in 8th and 9th respectively. Luca rounds out the top 10 on mediums. Then it's mediums all the way through 11th to 16th. Boggin starts alongside Cody Lawrence. Brownie, Java Hage, 13th and 14th. Neon starts 15th in his home Grand Prix. Get Owned in 16th alongside him. Modesto Mina, like we mentioned on the hards in the AlphaTauri. Alpha after crashing out in Q1, starts 18th on the mediums alongside his teammate Sandro, who wasn't able to put in a lap due to connection problems, but he's here for the race on the mediums. And Louis Welsh starting in 20th on the hard stuff.
Well, here we go now. Everyone to the grid. We have all the drivers lining up in formation, and we are about to go racing for 36 laps of intensity. The engines are fired up. The lights are on. It's 4 or 5 red lights here in the Netherlands, and we are away racing. It's a very calm start for everybody off the line, save for Thomas and Piotr, as Thomas already on the inside looking at the Aston Martin. Piotr with that good line, getting a good exit. Holding him off for now, Luke Smith. What's happened here? Luke Smith into 4th position, as well as Thomas has had an issue. Thomas is around, and he has one car into him, and I have to say, it is not good if you are a Williams fan. Both Matteo and Thomas collected through turn 3 right now.
Yeah, I had a great view of that, and Sandro's off as well, Striff. A big hit for the Alfa Romeo, who looks to be missing the entire front wing on that car, and he is. But no safety car, it would seem. Brownie and Get Owned exchanging as well. The Mercedes under real pressure here as they come out of turn 11, with Modesto Mina looking at Jay ahead of him. But yeah, mentioning the Williams, like you said, Thomas Harvey just lost it as he was side by side in sector 1. That, there was nowhere for Matteo to go, who was also side by side, and as such just had to stop alongside his teammate. So that's what's happened to the 2 Williams. Nothing to do with either or. The Paris, well, according to Simon Ty, he's dropping through the order. He's not. He's still leading things quite comfortably up at the front ahead of Tomek.
Yeah, it's a nice, good battle here up at the front. We saw a little bit of early position exchanging as we had Thomas drop. He's not going to be happy about that at all. Things still holding well in this train, though. Just a few stragglers. Lewis Welch coming in immediately for medium compound tires.
Yeah, Milan getting a bit sideways coming out of 10, and Ritchie had a little look. Milan closed the door on that one. And then Ritchie having a bit of a correction coming out of 11 there. So maybe just struggling to get the tires where they want to be in these opening stages. But so far so good for most of these drivers. Sancho just coming out of the pits now, a fair way down on the rest of this grid, and with a 5-second time penalty as well. That is looking like a really bad situation for the Alfa Romeo squad. Fastest lap goes to Paris right now, as DRS is enabled as well. Thomas Harvey, though, well, it's all getting collected now as those back Williams in 16th and 17th start picking up, or taking away, I should say, the fastest lap right now, as they won't be scoring that point if it was to finish like this.
No, definitely not, and we'll just have to see where that point lands at the end of contention here. Paris, Tomek, Piotr, your top 3 as we move through on lap 3. And what's happened here, there's an issue with, is it an issue or is it, yes, it is a huge issue for one of the Ferraris in Milan. A yellow flag through sector 2, coming off the gravel, dropping into 17th position. And that's not what you want to see if you are a Ferrari fan. Paris, Tomek holding well here. DRS is about to be in it for these two, and this is the first real opportunity we'll see for the front 2 with DRS. Will there be any exchanging right now? We're going to see the intervals update surely in a few moments. And there we have it. Within 4/10 is Tomek. DRS not being enough right now to execute any moves, and you really want to take your time and make sure that if you take a risk, that risk pays off, because if it doesn't, and we've said it many a time through this week already with these trains, if you blink, if you make a mistake, you are going to be exposed. You are going to be under threat, and you know what? This is the Champions Division. These guys know it better than anybody. A lot of these guys do this every single day for many, many hours, practicing, grinding, doing what they want to do and can do to improve, to get as fast as they can.
Yeah, and you're going to be under a lot of pressure here because you've got, such a tight train, and like you say, it's so hard to overtake around here, but one mistake, and if that flies you down, like Milan, like the Williams, it really is hard to come back from this because it's so hard to overtake. So you just need to try and stay cool, calm, and collected, and all those hours of practice, and we'll do that for you, help you stay calm, but it all comes down under the pressure. Here goes Tomek up the inside of Paris into turn one. His first challenge for race lead, and it's successful. Gets through nice and calmly through into P1. Paris, well, he's not having too much trouble. He hasn't used a lot of battery to stay in P1. We see that sometimes, but management very, very nice right now for the Ferrari. He knows that this is a long race. He's going to stick in this for the next 31 laps. So it's not over at all for the Ferrari, but he just needs to make sure he stays with that McLaren. The two behind as well, they're fighting, but again, no exchanging there, but a little bit more battery usage. So the front two right now seem to be pretty comfortable in those positions, Jeff.
If you're Luke Smith, you're not happy you're behind a medium runner. Even if the medium runner is within the train, you're not going to be thrilled about it, because you never know what you could pull off in front of that driver until you do, of course, get in front of him. And now with this train really, really formed, you have Paris and Tomek having their duel. Paris and Tomek, they want Piotr and Luke to start fighting. But these guys are very good. They know what they're doing, and they're not going to fight if it means costing them that DRS to this fight in front. Paris on the rear of Tomek, nothing doing just yet from the Ferrari. He was quite tight, looking, making his presence known in that rearview mirror. But he just...
The top four are pulling away.
They are pulling away just ever so slightly now. You can see it. Valu, that 1 second, and he's just dancing in and around there. He needs to be careful, Valu, because if he is going to drop that time, and he is on the medium, so that tire could flip back, of course, in his favor versus that soft that Luke's sitting on right now. But he is going to be exposed to Jeff in sixth very, very quickly here. Modesto, Mena, and Thomas Harvey are having an exchange as Modesto, Mena on the outside right now. Gonna flip back to the inside as we come through turn... Oh, right through turn 10 here. Very, very tight racing between these two, and that's Thomas Harvey. 14th position for him, holding on.
Yeah, nice challenge though.
Matteo looking for a door on the inside there, nearly getting squeezed off. Luke Smith, Piotr. Do we see the send here from the AlphaTauri? Piotr, he's holding it tight on the inside. A lunge coming out of the softs. He wanted to go around the outside there, surely, Luke, and now just a slight look back on the inside. This is a good try, and the reason I say it was a good try is he didn't lose a massive amount of time to Valu. He lost about 2/10. Valu's going to be happy about it. He gets to keep himself within a little bit of DRS proximity. Oh no! What happened there?
Paris has spun like we've seen all week long, and then Piotr has just run into him. Exactly what we saw earlier in the week. Piotr has got away unscathed, but for the Ferrari squad, it's gone from bad to worse. Paris, I think he might have got away without any damage as well, luckily. But what we can't see sometimes does come up on the MFD as damage, but a huge hit, and Paris is very lucky to will still be in this race, quite frankly, with the hit we saw there. He was spinning around quite viciously.
Well, if he pits right now, that's going to be a big indicator. Of course, he has 5 seconds, as does Piotr. I don't think he has damage. He's staying out. Jeffrey and Valu exchanging between the pair of them. as Jeffrey into third.
And Modesto losing out to Thomas. He did have the position there in that AlphaTauri, and well, he's lost it now, but he's making these hard to work for him. He's able to apply the pressure. He's running out of battery, as is the Williams.
Oh, Matteo Longe looking on the inside. This is not where you want to be pushing moves, but Matteo Longe on these softs is running out of options to push through on the AlphaTauri, and man, oh man, that could have gone one of, well, a few different ways, but I'm glad it didn't go the worst of those ways. And wow, that was very daring.
It's a risky move, putting your nose up the inside, coming into 3 out of 7 into 8, but as long as it doesn't end badly, again, it's just that sort of thing we mentioned it before, where you just threaten the move, and sometimes the other driver makes a mistake as a result of that. If Modesto runs wide through turn 8, as Valu's in, it's Richie.
Yeah, it's Richie
coming into the pits. He's going for the mediums, and that is a very long stint he's opting for, unless he's going for a 2-stop here, or planning for a safety car, or I say hoping for a safety car, because you can't plan for something you can't control. Piotr in as well, also serving a 5 seconds there. He's onto the soft, so he will be in before the end of this race.
Yeah, very interesting call there coming out of Richie. Onto the mediums now. We'll have to see what strategy it's going to be come later in the race. Of course, Tomic and Luke Smith also on the softs, who are in the running top 3. What's the call for them? I think they extend maybe 1 or 2 more laps here. We'll have to see. Does Luke come in and try to really force it on Tomic? Or does Tomic just stay out here? I don't know. This is going to be an interesting call. Jeffrey coming in early, throwing it up in the air a bit. Tomic, he's staying out. Yeah, all right. So they're going to be extending out compared to how Richie landed. What does Matteo do? He's on the softs. He's got DRS, of course, on the driver ahead in Modesto Mena.
Well, obviously, you want to avoid the undercut as Brownie sets fastest lap of the race. He's in 9th at the moment and dropping off the back of Neon. But that is early from Richie. The tyres, well, they should make it. We've seen stints that long already this week. The problem there is just that you can't really push too hard at any point now, because you're going to be worrying about that. And also, well, I wonder if a few of these races are haunted by last week, where, well, we saw a lot of punctures on the last lap, and as such, they don't want to be doing anything too daring on the strategy today. Matteo still putting Modesto under a lot of pressure here for 12th place. Looked like he was going to threaten turn 8 again, but hasn't worked out for the Williams. But he is applying a lot of pressure. Those two in the Williams squad are doing pretty well to come back. Matteo obviously hurt a little bit more by this, because he is on the softs and he's down in 13th place. The same with the 2 Ferraris as well. They're in a really bad position in this one, but Thomas Harvey recovering nicely and might still be able to scrape a few points from this one if the reverse strategy does work for him.
Brownie outside of the DRS right now. He's just dancing in and around that 1 second range. He was within that 1 second range, coming through 14, pushing to try and get it back. He has not been able to get it back just yet, but he's finding pace in certain areas that could very well keep him in and around that 1 second margin. As Piotr, a 1:10.992 in the Aston Martin. He does this on a fresh set of softs.
And, getting those fastest laps, and it's the only way that he's really going to be able to get into this. He has served his 5 seconds, but obviously he is miles away from the rest of the field. The only person behind him, 34.2 seconds, is Sandro, who's looking to try and make it to the end of this race on those hards. And, well, it's been an awful evening for him, not able to connect in qualifying, and now a crash in the early stages of the race. No front wing put him right at the bottom of this one. Tomek, Luke Smith still staying out at the front of things, so not coming in for the undercut that, and feeding into Jeffrey Ritchie's strategy, playing it a little bit more safe on the tyre front. Modesto, Matteo, side by side. Matteo's been looking for 12th place for quite some time now. His sots aren't getting any younger, and he's not finding the traction. Again, the outside line coming out of turn 1, paying off, and Modesto still fighting on those hards. And how long have Mateo's softs got left in them as a result of that? And, well, he's done well to fight Modesto here to take him off of his teammate Thomas Harvey ahead of him.
Things did not get off to a good start for the Williams drivers at all. We saw them come together in turn 3 very early on. Right now, it's Getone just in front of Neon, looking for Cody Lawrence. And we saw this battle brewing between them.
And again, all these medium runners, they're in a nice position here. This train is stuck together fairly well with those who are on the 11 lap old mediums, with the exception of Alpha's Kaya, of course, who was unable to get out of Q1 after his crash there. And, well, he hasn't had a brilliant start to this race either. But the other medium runners, as I say that, Luca, well, he's gone very wide at turn 4. Oh! He's together with Neon. And that is not what you want to be doing. Both cars off the track, and Neon, he's had to jump over a bit of debris there on one of the boards that he smashed coming together with Luca. And that's forced him even further down the order at his home race. And Luca's had another problem. The Haas, well, he's dropped back even further now. And what is going on? Modesto has received a 5-second penalty for ignoring a yellow flag. And Luca is really struggling. He's not even putting the throttle down, really. Really going slow in the Haas right now. A very chaotic few moments here in Champions when there was a period of calm.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what happened to him in that Haas at all, but he is definitely struggling as Boggin now value. There's an exchange for the top 3, and now is 3rd position for the Aston Martin. Teo into the pit lane now. Neon is into the pit lane as well. Not entirely. I did not see visible damage on any cars there. Neon must have had damage. There's a retirement in the pit lane from Luca.
Yeah, I can confirm Neon did get a wing change there, I believe. Oh, that's Luca's team exchanging the front wing there on the Haas, but obviously, like you said, he has retired that car in the pit lane. But yeah, Neon getting a front wing change there. Again, we have had this thing where we're not seeing damage on the front wing, but it is happening to the drivers. It's not major damage, but it can be felt. The same happened in Tier 2 earlier this week when, you know, that safety car restart happened. Front wing was caught on a few of those cars. Noel in particular, we couldn't see it, but he did drop back through the field. So Neon just trying to avoid that, I assume, having a bit of trouble there. It is a really problematic place for him to be. Tomek is in, so he is trying to undercut Luke Smith, and this is a much more timely time.
Cody on the inside of Valu. He's looking at the inside. Valu, that door just left ajar. Nothing doing just yet from Cody, as Paris is into the pit lane, Tomek into the pit lane as well. One thing I'd just like to say, thank you very much to Disaster for the Tier 1 sub, and thank you to everybody who is tuning in and supporting the casts as we move through the season. Your support is greatly appreciated, and of course, if you're just making it into the stream, well, my name's Strifium, joining me is Unicorn. This is the Champions Division Round 2, and later this evening, well, we're going to have ourselves the endurance race around Spa, and I'm very, very much excited for that.
Modesto, Striff, he's off into the wall, and that is damage, I think, on the AlphaTauri front wing. Those hards, he's been working them pretty hard, and well, Paris has crashed out of the race.
No.
And there is a VSC, and Luke Smith will say thank you very much. It's not a full safety car.
It is now.
But that is a brilliant time. It's gone up. That's something we've not seen too frequently. And that is going to be everyone into the pit lane. I think Tomek, well, he's just pitted. So how many places does he get back here? He won't get his rival for leader things, and he won't get Valu, of course, who stayed out here. The Red Bull on 15-lap old mediums stays out. His teammate wasn't in the pit lane because that's Neon for the evening. So a bold call there hards for a lot of these drivers who were on the medium so that they can go to the end. Get Own's gone for the softs. I don't think they'll do 20 laps, so that's a very interesting call. It's a second retirement for Paris in just 2 races, so he will not be happy, especially considering this one, Striff, was going a hell of a lot better for him.
Yeah, I'd say so, considering he was on pole and he was having a stellar race. This crash, not going to be something he's thrilled about even remotely.
Well, obviously, he had the one earlier on where he spun and then got hit, but, you know, last week, obviously, going out very, very early, but now out again, and it's such a poor start, and in a short season, no points after 2 races with just 13 rounds remaining. It doesn't look good. So I'm sure he will be disappointed. Luke Smith, last week's P2, now in a very strong position, but he's got last week's race winner Tomek right behind him, also on fresh mediums. Jeffrey Ritchie as well, 6-lap old mediums. He pitted early. He's right up here with the front 2 now. Or front 3, if you include Valu, who is now going to come in. And this is not ideal for him. I wonder why he's done this. Maybe not wanting to get held in the pits. He's going for the soft tires.
Very interesting strategy call there for Valu. Soft tires. I mean, he could be... Well, I don't know what the call is there. Big shout out to Killian96K. Thank you very much for the prime. Greatly appreciate your support. And Luke Smith leading this race on the fresh mediums. Tomek. Jeffrey Ritchie in 3rd position here in a reserve capacity. He'll be happy about that. Thank you to everybody hitting that follow button and sharing the stream around. Really appreciate your support of League Racing here on Twitch.
It's interesting that we've got these, different strategies. In the top 6, we've got all 3 tires and all 3 in a fresh capacity, as well as, of course, Jeffrey Ritchie there on 7-lap omniums. This will help him out a little bit. Gives his tires a little bit of respite. We saw, a huge stint from Disaster earlier on in the week, where I believe he took those mediums at least 26, if not 29 laps around here. So it is possible. And that was with a lot of safety cars and ended in a photo finish as well. So he might struggle towards the end in terms of pace, but he should be able to get those tires to the end. But he's going to feel pressure at the end from those hard runners. He needs to stick with the front 2, who've had incredible pace, not just this week, but last week as well. And they're on fresher tires. So he's got his work out. A very late call for the safety car coming in. We've seen safety car restarts going very wrong here already this week, Jeff, but it's Luke Smith leading Tomek away for this one.
I imagine he'll be thrilled about that, having Akira to 108.544 in Q2 to take the top slot in that classification. He's gone. How's it going to go here? Tomek, Ritchie, Boggins on Ritchie. Here we go into turn 1 on the inside. The Aston Martin, does he have it up there? Yes, he does. Where's Cody Lawrence here on the rear of this? There's a touch of contact. Ooh, that could have been bad. That could have been really bad. Now Cody Lawrence looking for Ritchie. Does he get him? There's a snap coming out of Ritchie. Cody's there. Get Owned is on the rear.
I'm not quite sure what's happened at the rear of things here, but it seems 3 cars, if not 4, have come together at the back of things. And Alpos Sky, not for the first time this evening, is with a major incident. He's got no front wing on his Alfa Romeo.
Piotr on the inside of Modesto Mena right now in the Aston Martin as we come through turns 9 and 10. Oh my, that was a good move there. He slips it through. Thomas Harvey looking to the rear of Brownie right now. The train in full formation as Luke Smith and Tomek pushing away. Look at the separation to Boggin. Boggin on these hards right now, 1.5 seconds as we come to the line. No DRS in it for a few laps yet as Ritchie still with Cody. Utilizing that overtake, wanting to get himself back into, of course, 4th position. Cody here in a reserve capacity. Ritchie around the outside doesn't have enough there, and Get Owned right on the rear of this. I think this is going to be a very large duel for 5th position. Oh, Ritchie, a little bit deep there. Get Owned with a nice line through on the inside. Doesn't have the exit he wants.
And you can see, you know, Richie's on these old tires. They may not be ridiculously old, but they will be feeling it compared. He has a little bit of a slide out from underneath him. And there goes Get Owned up the inside. Richie has really been struggling on this race start here. He's been passed by the two hard runners. Now he gets passed by the McLaren on the softs. And he is falling back quite tremendously here. And this is giving the front two
on the inside of Thomas Harvey. I'm sorry to interrupt you there. What a clean move from the Red Bull. That was beautiful from our view here, I have to say. And those are the nice views you like to see here on these streams. Right now, Piotr, he's still sitting on Thomas. Thomas on these hards right now, heavily exposed just ahead of them. Get Owned in Cody Lawrence. Who's going to blink first here? Piotr looking to the inside. Is he going to have the lunge he needs? The mediums now. There's the lunge on the inside of turn one. It's very tight between this Aston Martin and the Williams. And who's there on the rear? It's Modesto Mano on the mediums. Looking for a way through.
Yeah, this safety car restart has injected a lot of action into things. Valu tight to the rear of Brownie here. We've already seen him make that move down into turn 12. He's not going to try anything through turn 8. We haven't seen anything like that already this evening. We saw Matteo threatening in it earlier, but didn't work out for him. And Valu exercising patience as well. Modesto on Thomas Harvey on the inside. Just about squeezes through. Thomas Harvey later on the brakes trying to hold it into 11. Doesn't work out for him. Does Valu have another shot here down into turn 12? Looks like he's way too far back.
Lewis is getting Thomas here, and there's a little bit of contact. Lewis and Thomas. Thomas has gone round as we come through the stadium section of Sector 3 here. Wow. Tight racing, hard racing. Get Owned on the rear of Cody as we come out of the banking. DRS enabled, overtake enabled. Does he have an opportunity to move through? Yes, a later lunge on the brakes. Then Cody, what a move on the softs there. Straight around the outside for the McLaren into fourth.
Yeah, Valu got Brownie as well. Done a start finish straight. And now Louis is going to get Modesto Mina here after Modesto had a little bit of coming together with Piotr there for 10th place, and it's lost him out now to 12th as well. Neon 3-second time penalty. He came into the pits once again there in the Red Bull, so he is quite far down. Look at the gap the leaders are pulling though. 3.3 seconds already here after the safety car restart. They are absolutely flying on those fresh mediums. Get Owned is stuck behind Boggin. He hasn't found a way through on the Aston Martin here. And then he gets something down into turn 12. It looks good for him here. Boggin, no DRS, of course, but the McLaren backs out. There's a problem. It's Thomas Harvey, the Williams, once again off the track this race and jumping to 16th. And he will not be happy about that one.
Well, up at the front, we have this duel between Luke Smith and Tomek. 3/10 separating them. Tomek with the DRS looking to the inside, cruising by in the McLaren a little bit later on the brakes. It's tight right now for Luke. There's a touch of contact, a little bit of wheel locking as we come through turns 2 and 3. Tomek holding station for now.
Yeah, putting the pressure on, but not able to get through on the Avatari. There are still tussles going on further down the grid as well. Richie still looking for a way past his teammate for the evening, and I thought he might try it around the outside of A there again. We've seen the drivers exercise patience at this section of track. Neon, fastest lap of the race at his home Grand Prix. Similarly to Richie here, who has dropped.
Oh, it's tight between Piotr and Brownie right now as Piotr stretching himself through into 10th. No, it's 9th position. That's just Brownie fighting him back. Brownie not giving him any opportunities for free position here. It's wheel to wheel as we come through into turn 11. Now through 12. Very intense here. Brownie holding on that position. And not only has he held that position, he's given his teammate a door through to really squeeze through. Lewis has taken 2 positions. Not only Piotr, but he's taken Brownie. Modesto Maina, holy smokes, is there as well. Luke Smith and Tomek on the inside of turn 1. There is so much action unfolding, and I have to say, Lewis, what a masterclass opportunistic move there. Tomek now, he's in lead of the race. The McLaren, wow.
Yeah, and that fight further down has ended poorly for not one but 2 drivers. Modesto Mina tried to sneak up the inside of 15, found himself facing the wrong way. Now Brownie's had a problem through turn 1 as well. So the Mercedes driver is down 2. So not going well for a few of these drivers as we get through lap 23.36. Well, like you said, Tomek looks comfortable behind Luke Smith. We'll see whether he can stay comfortable up at the front too. He ran away when Paris lost out on leading this race. We'll see whether Luke Smith is able to hold with him better. But there is a bit of an ERS disadvantage right now. But Tomek has had time to harvest behind in that DRS of the AlphaTauri.
Very, very intense race right now, and the McLaren's looking very good, given their 1-3 running. Bog in on these hard compound tires, though. He's going to have an edge over Get Owned soon, considering, look at that gap to Luke dropping for Get Owned, and he's not going to be able to make it to the end on these tires.
Yeah, the lap-to-lap exchanging has taken a little bit of a calm moment. Neon looking to put Sandro under a bit of pressure for 16th here, but everywhere else, things are starting to calm down after the safety car restart now. 12 laps to go. We're 2/3 of the way now through the race, and Luke Smith has held with Tomek over the last lap or so.
Just remember, we are just about half an hour away from the Endurance Series. Of course, that will be following this racing action. There's going to be a little short break between the Champions Division and the Endurance Series. However, the broadcast will be staying live, so be sure to hang with us for a 100% distance campaign around Spa, and I can confirm the weather will be dynamic and we have rain on the horizon. If you've ever watched one of our Endurance Series before, I say there's going to be rain, there is going to be rain.
And if there's rain in an Endurance Series, you know it's going to be well worth a watch as well, because, well, when the rain starts to pour in Endurance, it creates quite the dramatic endeavor. But here, we've had drama, and we haven't had a drop of rain in the Netherlands.
No.
We've got 3 drivers out, but it's certainly not been smooth sailing for the other 17, that's for sure.
Very tight race. You can see these drivers really stretching and pushing as much as they can here. We're on lap 25, soon to be lap 26 of 36. Tomek and Luke Smith tangled in a duel for the win. Tomek won last week in Bahrain. He took pole position last week in Bahrain. However, this week, second position in qualifying, leading this race now. DRS for Luke. Does he look to the inside? Yes, but he does not lick the stamp and send it.
Louis might though on Jay here later on. The brakes around the outside of turn 1. Goes the Mercedes. Does he find it? This traction zone has been powerful, and it continues to be so as he gets past the Haas for 8th place. Very, very nicely done from him.
That was a good move there. No doubt in value, as we say it. He's eyeing up Richie, and this is looking quite spicy considering the tire differential. Of course, value on tires half the life or half the age of Richie's, and the faster tires at that, less than 3/10 is the gap. And I imagine value wanting to push through on both Alpines.
10 laps to go now, and we've seen this throughout the week where you get to the stage and around a track that's difficult to overtake at, some drivers might just start putting the risk levels up a little bit here, maybe doing moves that they wouldn't necessarily have done throughout the race. But we have seen some unorthodox overtaking positions, particularly through sector 2, coming out of turn 10 through 11. There's been a lot of battling through there. Luke Smith looking for leaner things, doesn't find it there. And down in the thick of things in the middle, back nothing exchanging, but Neon's had a problem all the way down in 17th. The Red Bull last on track now. No visible damage, but not the first problem he's had this race.
Still eyes on value, sitting with Richie. Luke Smith within 3/10, and he's been sitting and holding station on the rear of Tomek for some time. Cody Lawrence there, just holding within 4/10 in and around that half a second mark of Boggin. They're on the same tires, and you wonder, will those hards give them a potential podium opportunity? That's a good question.
It is, late in the race, and you will start to see the differentials start to play a role, and Richie, I think, is going to drop even further here. We saw him drop on the safety car restart. He's now seems to be struggling to keep up with his teammate. And, well, Valu there, his tires will die off too. So I think the likes of Louis, Piotr, and Jay are side by side. I was about to mention them, but they've made themselves the center of the spotlight. As Piotr, a beautiful dive up the inside there in turn one. He is going to be someone at the end of this race that everyone else ahead of him is going to have to watch out for as their tires drop off. But Jay as well, he might be able to take advantage of the dying mediums on those hards. Just needs to stick with Piotr here and use him to sort of bring him into that train, but he is struggling right now.
Three tenths between Lewis and Valu. These mediums are going to start to gain an edge over the softs, and Lewis Welch, a driver who started this race at the back of the grid, really coming through to push himself into the points no matter what the situation is. Massive shout out to Ben the Bear coming through with a sub. Thank you for the prime, and thank you so much for the support. And of course, thank you everyone who's here watching with us. This is round 2. We'll be back next week for round 3 in Russia as Luke Smith and Tomic. Oof, he looked for it up the inside there, Luke, but he just didn't get it.
Yeah, everyone's looking for things. Louis as well can't find anything on Valu here. But this train in the middle is getting tighter lap after lap. As the tire starts to equalize, a little looker on the outside. I think the Mercedes there just thought Valu was going to be going through that corner a little bit quicker. Luckily for him, doesn't lose any time as a result, but things getting tense as we approach the last few laps here in Zandvoort.
Great battles we've seen tonight through this race. We saw a great qualifying session, 3 rounds of qualifying, Qs 1, 2, and 3, where we saw Paris take pole position in Q1. Unfortunately, Paris out of this race second week in a row, and really not going his way the start of this season. Of course, 15 rounds, Russia next week. Love to see how things happen for him, as Piotr a little bit shaky coming off of the exit curb of 13, and Tomic, Luke, wheel to wheel up at the front. Tomic on the inside. Luke and him getting a little bit of wheel rubbing going on there, and Luke wants that inside back through 3. Tomic holding on. And what a fight for this race win we are having between the McLaren and AlphaTauri right now. Get-own 3.5 seconds behind. Boggin, Cody Lawrence on his rear. But I suppose we really are going to have to start paying attention to this fight for the win, as now things are starting to get tight to the end of this race. We're on lap 30 of 36. Lewis Welch within 1.5 tenths of Valu. Just sitting in and around that range as well.
You said tight, Jeff, for the gap at the front, but I can't think of a better word. They were so close coming out of turn 1. Tomic really not giving Luke an inch of space more than he needed to, as yellow flags are popping up. I don't know whether there was a reasoning there. There is. There's an AlphaTauri off. Who is this? It's Modesto Mina. Not been the best race for him either. Down in 13th now, and with a damaged front wing, that will surely be causing problems. Luke trying to find a way through in turn 1, almost caught the curb on the inside. That would have been very, very costly for the AlphaTauri. We've seen what that can do to a car and how it can spin it around if you hook it in the wrong way.
Oh, we have an issue as we come through. Who is that? That is Neon facing the wrong way. Front end damage on that car.
And he has been struggling all race long, as I'm not quite sure what happened there. Modesto Mina, he's apparently in the pit lane, but on my screen, he is very much not in the pit lane.
We've been seeing some issues like this
There's a huge problem
before.
with the pit lane, it would seem.
Yeah, with that pit lane, and I think we've seen those issues more so with the Netherlands, of course, but right now, lap 31 of 36 32 as we cross with Tomic and Luke Smith. And Luke Smith, we saw him for the past couple of laps really put Tomic under some pressure, put Tomic into that primary defensive position. Some good holds as well, some tight racing between the pair.
There's a battery advantage for the AlphaTauri at the front, and he'll be hoping he can use that into turn 1, I should think, at some point, maybe on the last lap. Risky, but it would give Tomic no way back through. But I imagine trying it down on the penultimate lap is the safest option. Try again on the final lap and then on the final corner potentially, as there's a battle further on. Thomas Harvey losing out to Sandro for 14th place. Out of the points, seems unlikely it will ever be for points as well at this stage of the race.
Really coming down to the wire. Lap 33 is where we're about to land ourselves. Tomic, Luke, a little bit of battery utilization coming out for Luke on the exit of 14. Nothing too much going on here. Luke not pulling the trigger. Cody Lawrence, however, bog in, wheel to wheel through into turn 1. Cody Lawrence on the inside looking for 4th. Isn't going to find it just yet.
There's another yellow flag. I think it's Modesto Mina. It is. I think he's lucky to still have a car because his entire front wing, well, he's retired on track here. Car is still intact and moving as well as the two leaders come through.
That's not what you want to see at all. All right. I think that yellow flag is, yeah, it is now gone. Yoder here on the rear of Lewis Welch. Lewis has been hunting down Valu. I think we're going to see it here. Lewis, not a lot of battery right now. Valu holding on. It's so tight right now between these guys, and you really do love to see it. It gets you on the edge.
It's going to go down to it here. We've got a 20% ERS advantage in favor of Luke Smith right now, and he's using it, which is forcing Tomic to use his as well. And if he can keep this management up, he might just have an opportunity to find a move. We might have something similar to the photo finish we saw in Tier 4 earlier this week, where that went to the line. Obviously this a little bit higher stakes. Louis Peotis side by side coming out of 10, and it looks like the Mercedes has found the better of the Aston Martin there. No tire advantage, just pure racing, and it's a beautiful move by the Mercedes, and he will stay there, almost having Peotis run into the back of him. That was so close.
Yeah, that was just a hair separating those two as they came into the braking. Here we go now. Luke Smith on the rear of Tomic. Does he have the move? Tomic has been closing off that outside line. A good drop back onto that inside for Tomic. We're on the penultimate lap of this race, ladies and gentlemen. Boggin, Cody Lawrence right now, wheel to wheel. Excuse me, it's not Boggin and Cody Lawrence. It's Boggin and Get Owned, as Boggin, these hards, giving himself the edge I thought they just might. Hunting down a podium position, and Cody Lawrence is there as well. Luke Smith, we want to follow this fight up at the front, but there's just so much action happening on track as Lewis Welch continues fighting for 7th position on the rear of Valu. Lap 35 out of 36. Tomic, Luke Smith, Get Owned your top 3. A battle for the lead between the AlphaTauri and the McLaren now as we come out of turn 11. Turn 10. Are we going to see the move here? This is going to be crucial. Absolutely crucial move here. Do we see Luke pull the trigger? Does he have the exit? Does he have what he needs? Does he have the tools? There's a snap coming out of Tomic's car. He's got the run here to the left. No, oh, there's a bit of a move from Tomic there. Luke thought he was going to go very far to the left.
Yeah, the other McLaren under pressure here as well, and he might just lose out to Boggin on the outside of turn 1. He does, and this McLaren, Ghetto needs to worry about his tires because he could be in puncture territory if he has to fight too much. He loses out on the podium. I doubt he'll reclaim that with the little battery he's got left. He needs to worry, though, about the Alpine behind. There's a yellow flag. It's Louis Welsh coming out. He is off the track in the Mercedes. But Luke Smith, does he have anything here? He's going to look for it on the inside of 11. Doesn't find it there. He's got really 2 more attempts. It doesn't look like turn 12 is going to work for him already. The rear light, though, on the McLaren is flashing. Does he get the run out of 15? We've seen it once already this week. Can he get it? He has a bit of a slide, though, coming out of 13. That could have compromised his entire opportunity here. He is now 3.5 tenths down. He needs to push. He is pushing. It's going to be close. He will get DRS as well. It's going to be very, very close here to the line. Tomek ahead. It is Tomek.
Holy smokes!
Strip.
A millisecond separating these two at the line as far as the timing tower is concerned. What a draw at the line. Tomek getting him. I don't know what to say. Bog in 3rd position. It's Get Owned in 4th with Cody Lawrence. Cody Lawrence collects 5th, Jeffrey Ritchie in 6th, it's Valu 7th, Piotr in 8th with Jay in 9th, and it's Lewis Welch from 20th to 10th to round out the points finishers. Look at the separation between these two at the line. Oh my, what a race finale that was for round 2 champions, I have to say. My oh my. And we are 15 minutes away from getting started for Spa. What a thrilling campaign. Still drivers on track, of course. We have Milan in 11th, Matteo 12th. It's Sandro 13th position. Brownie, it's not points this week, but what drives from everybody on circuit today. Thomas Harvey 15th position, and it's going to be Neon.
That is unbelievable. That slide out of 13. Well, I wondered whether it would cost him the opportunity to go for the win. It didn't cost him the opportunity, but I think it's fair to say that 1 millisecond could have been lost in that slide. And the AlphaTauri, for the 2nd week in a row, finishes behind the McLaren. It's Tomek P1 and Luke Smith P2 once again. But this time, it's an Aston Martin alongside the Boggin P3. And, well, it's a 1-4 for McLaren. Get Owned in 4th place. A much improved position from 10th last week, where he scored a single point. Now up into 4th, and Cody Lawrence for Alpine. Both Alpines not turning up in terms of full-time drivers, but Cody Lawrence and Jeffrey Ritchie there, 5th and 6th. Nice result for both of the reserves. Valu, P7 in the Red Bull. Not the podium that he got last week, but P7 nonetheless. Solid points on the board. It's a double points finish for Aston Martin as well, with Piotr there in 8th. Java H finishes 9th in the Haas, ahead of Louis Welsh, who had a problem on the last lap. Started 20th after not joining in qualifying, but finishes with 1 point to his name for the Mercedes squad. So he'll be pleased with that. A nice redemption drive there. Milan P11 for Ferrari. No points for them. Matteo P12. Sandro, Brownie, Thomas Harvey, Neon finishing the race in 16th. Then Modesto, Alpolskaya, Paris, and Luca all failing to finish here tonight. What a crazy race that was.
It really, really was. I'm so thrilled to have had that race tonight around Zandvoort after an amazing week, I have to say, of races around Zandvoort. This was our 7th campaign around the circuit this week. And, well, what an evening of racing it was here for Netherlands. Of course, we're going to have interviews in just a quick moment. And once we get those interviews wrapped up, we're going to take a quick short break before we jump into a 100% distance campaign around Spa. And it's going to be a very, very, very good race. I'm sure of that, as we have dynamic weather coming. And, well, I cannot wait. Cannot wait for that. We're just going to see if we can get some interviews dialed in.
But unbelievable. Another photo finish here in Zandvoort. You love to see it. And just coming that close to the line. Don't really see that at too many other tracks. Obviously, of course, Brazil might afford you something a little bit similar with DRS to the line and that huge run out of the final corner, but 2 photo finishes in a row. It's unbelievable. Last week, of course, we had the puncture drama in the last lap. This week, well, a 1 millisecond gap in between first and second, and I do believe we will be interviewing both drivers involved with that. But my oh my, what a race. And what a finish as well. Fitting.
Really was a good finish. Now we have some interviews. Thank you to Vexit for the raid. We're going to be speaking to him right now. Alrighty, there we have it. Okay, jumping into some interviews. Joining us. How you doing, Luke? Crazy race today.
I am very tired. That was a very tough race after that safety car restart. Feeling good. That was a nice battle. Enjoyed it, and yeah, most importantly, learned a lot from that. Even if I didn't win. So yeah.
Well, P2 finish. It's your second P2 finish in as many races. Starting to look pretty good for you this season. How does this set you up for your third round next week in Russia?
Well, I'm still shaking a little bit from that battle. But yeah, 2 second places in a row. It shows that again we can be up there. Like if we can just capitalize on like little misfortunes, for example, Paris spinning and Statula getting caught up in it, stuff like that, or like I was gonna pit at the end of lap 15 anyway, but the safety car just gave me trap position, and no real soft runners to come from behind, so that just made it a little bit easier. So if we can keep capitalizing on stuff like that, then we're in for a very good season.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Unicorn, any questions for Luke as well? Second trip to the commentary booth this season with us.
Yeah, well,
get you your own chair.
Yeah, well, the finish, obviously, Luke, was quite dramatic. We saw on the penultimate lap, you've been fighting into turn 1 for a couple of laps. You've been trying to go for the outside. You realized that wasn't working. You looked at the inside. It almost came crumbling down with, Tomek there covering the inside very late. What were your thoughts in that moment? Did you think it was all going to come crumbling down? Were you, worried in that moment that it might result in a bit of a crash?
Well, I did know that it was last lap, so it was a bit do or die basically in that last lap. It was I knew that Tomek wasn't going to leave an inch, so I had to try and make an inch out of him, or if that's probably not how you say it, but anyway. But yeah, I had to find an inch that was barely there. So yeah, it was a bit it was a very risky last corner, but I knew that we had a bit of a buffer to the guys behind, so if I got minor wing damage or something, then would have been fine. Would have been able to get P2 at least. So yeah, either way, I really wanted that win. So yeah, I'm not disappointed in that effort at all.
Yeah, well, it can't get much closer. Well, it can't get any closer than a millisecond, really. So, Luke, congratulations. P2, yet again, another strong points finish for you. And I'm sure you could be happy with that going into round 3 next week. But congratulations. And as always, thank you for taking the time to interview with us here.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, that was, of course, Luke, our P2 finisher. We do have Boggin. We're going to jump with him. Of course, now jumping in, P3 finish. Boggin, hello, welcome. Congratulations on your P3 today in the Netherlands. It was a very wild race. How are you feeling?
Oh, thank you very much. Of course, I'm very happy. I wasn't thinking even of finishing that high, as my practice really wasn't going so well. I started my practice like 3 hours before the race, and yeah, I was just hoping for some points, and I finished qualifying on P11. Of course, I wanted to qualify to Q3, but I just failed to do this. Yeah, so that was the only positive side of this qualifying, to start on P11. Of course, the reverse strategy paid off. didn't really expect to be as fast. Like, I was really consistent, and my pace was really good. And yeah, as I said, it just paid off. I'm really happy, and yeah, I'm glad that I finished P3. There was a nervous situation on the last laps, as I had some really weird problems with my DRS button. Like, when I pressed it, it didn't really work. It was really strange, but yeah, let's forget about that. But finally, I overtook Getaunt. I was afraid that I couldn't do it, but yeah, his tires were just completely ruined, and I had some pace on that last laps, and yeah, just overtook him to turn 1 and finished the race. And yeah, like I said, I'm just really happy.
Great race from you, of course. Russia next week. It's going to be a wild ride. How are you looking for Russia? Confident or shaky for Russia next week?
After that result, after that performance, of course, there is the kick of motivation, but I can't tell right now. I will just see how my pace is on this track.
All right.
As I think that it would be my first laps on this track in this new game, so I can't really tell right now. So we will see.
Well, good luck, Bogdan, and as well, again, congratulations on the podium, the P3, and we'll look forward to seeing you again for a solid result next week in Russia.
Yeah, thank you very much. Cheers.
All right. That was, of course, Bogdan, our third place finisher. We've spoken to Luke Smith, and well, Luke Smith had a very tight finish with this man right here. It's 2 weeks in a row. It is Tomek in the McLaren. Tomek, what a thrilling campaign. You started this race in second, differently than last week. However, the same result. Congratulations, and how you feeling?
That was very close. I think that would be an understatement if I said that was very close. That was, yeah.
Yeah,
closer than I wanted. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm just gonna address the finish because I think that's the main talking point. Coming out of the final corner on the final lap, I was streaming and I said, I like look at Breath and said, yeah, GG. And then I look back and I see like Luke coming, and I thought it would slip out of my hands, but yeah, 1,000, that's crazy. Well, what's also, you know, I lost pole by 2,000ths of a second and I won the race by 1,000 of a second, so yeah.
Shaky finish. I imagine the heart beating at the end there when you see the timing tire. You go, "Wow, that was almost a second position finish." Of course, 2 in a row now. You're looking quite strong. Very early here in the season, we haven't seen Nico come through, but off to a commanding lead in this division. I imagine even it being a little bit tighter than you would have wanted, this is giving you great confidence for the season moving into round 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as I mentioned last week, I am taking the opportunities with people missing, or you know, some of my contenders having bad races. Like for example, Piotr Stachulec, he's had 2 unlucky races now. So it's important that when these things happen to your opponents or they're just not here, you maximize the gain. And I think I'm doing that. I'm doing exactly that. Yeah, hopefully I can keep it going. Honestly, Zandvoort, I didn't expect the win here. Throughout the whole quali, I was struggling, but then in the race, I just put everything together and got the win. So yeah, a very another good race. And going forward, obviously, I want to repeat these results. There are some better tracks for me coming, so yeah, we'll be trying to take advantage of that.
Well, it was a great race from you, Tomek. Unicorn, any questions for our race winner, Mr. Tomek in the McLaren, of course, after his second straight win here now in the Netherlands?
Yeah, well, again, another incredible finish, but and also an incredible drive as well from Luke Smith. You two have sort of established yourself. Like you said, there are a few people who have had bad luck, you know, poor attendance, etc. But you two seem very close. How, you know, only 2 weeks in, but that rivalry seems to sort of started. You know, how does that, you know, make you feel going into the season, knowing that you've got someone who's going to keep you, on your toes, at least for, these race wins or podiums as we go through?
Yeah, I think going into this season, I very much underestimated some people's potential, and Luke is proving exactly that. Going into the season, you obviously look at him as a rival, but don't expect him to be up there consistently. And now 2 races in a row, he finishes P2, which is, yeah, I mean, great to see because, obviously I would want to win every race, but adding lots of rivalry to that is great. So, yeah, I think great job by Luke again for today's pace. And then, honestly, the whole field today was very fast. As you saw, I struggled in quali. Up until the last lap in Q3, I don't think I was in top 2 ever. So yeah, I mean, well done to everyone, and Luke is just one of the people who can potentially strike up a challenge this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Tomek, congratulations. 2 wins in a row. Incredible form at the start of this season, and we'll see whether you can keep it up in Russia. But for tonight, congratulations and thank you for interviewing with us here after the race.
Thank you.
That was Tomek, everyone. Of course, our race winner 2 weeks in a row, and that is going to wrap up our coverage of the Champions Division. However, George, our night has not yet come to a conclusion, because you and I, in just about 5-10 minutes, are going to be back commentating the Endurance Series around Spa. And we are just about ready to go racing there. However, we're going to be taking a quick breather, George and I. I think that can be afforded for us after an amazing race there in the Netherlands.
Yeah, absolutely. I think at excitement levels, we need to take a moment, sit down, process that, and then we can get into what will be a very interesting race at Spa, because obviously, well, weather conditions, I don't think we know quite what's going to go on there, but we do know that rain will be involved. So we'll see how that unfolds. But like you said, Schiff, we're going to take a quick break before we get into the endurance action, but stick around. And thank you all for tuning in so far for Champions. But like we said, the evening is far from over.
Definitely far from over. And of course, we're going to be right back. We're going to be muting up and just heading on over into another screen for a moment here while we get things dialed in for the Endurance Series. So give us a few. We'll be right back, and it's going to be time for racing around Spa.